It is my great joy and pleasure to have Pavel join us. He is a huge member of our community and helps out in all our chats and adds lots of information to us. And so today the session is all yours, Pavel. He's going to be taking us through Power BI custom icon themes. So let me stop sharing and hand over to you.
Okay, hello guys. I will start to share my screen. Please confirm that you see it.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. And if you have any question, just feel free to ask directly because I would not be able to follow the chat. So let's start. Power BI custom icon theme, work smart, not hard. First, my speaker info. My name is Pavel. I came from this small country in Central Europe that's called Czech Republic or Czechia or whatever. My life motto, I'm a kind of lazy, or as someone says, efficient guy. I'm too lazy not to write a script. I started to process data in 2001 on my R&D background, started with MATLAB, going through some exotic data crunching programming things. And finally, I ended with Power Query, DAX, and SQL PowerShell. Okay, Power BI stuff. I started to work since 2017 with premium capacity in Skoda Auto, where I'm an employee. I focus on Power BI backend. Please, I don't name colors. Don't ask me about the front end. I'm a real backend and guy who is able to deliver custom functionalities, Power Query DAX, and some specialties over SVG, dynamic SVGs, DNAP, and cooperation with the rest of the Power BI ecosystem. But I'm not an expert in app and flow. I'm just meddling with it, and they do my task for Power BI. Effectively, I'm a kind of Oracle of Delphi in Skoda and now in the Volkswagen Group for Power BI topics. And also I have lots of teaching sessions, workshops and lessons, also recorded several tens of recordings in VWAG ecosystem. Okay, that's me. And let's go into the storyline. I'm going to share this PBX file or PBIT file with you so you can study it and so on. So first of all, just an introduction. What is the scalable vector graphic? SVG is some kind of how you can define an image, and the image is defined not as a bitmap but as vectors. So it's scalable and it can adapt to your screen resolution and so on. So the key parts. SVG is scalable, resolution independent. It's text defined, so it can be controlled by DAX, dynamically responsive to your Power BI report, because we are talking about Power BI indeed. And it's CSS compatible, but that's something for IT geeks, so let's let it as it is. In Power BI, you can use SVGs for tons of things. I'm gonna talk about custom icons. I would start with a little introduction into dynamic control images and cards because we need to at least grasp the basics there. And the fluffy things about SVGs in Power BI is that works for your default visuals. You don't need, especially in big corporates like I'm working with, you don't need to meddle with custom visuals if they are or are not allowed to consume or be used, etc. Use custom visuals at all. The only problem is that some new default visuals like card news and slices news are not yet supporting SVG, but based on Miguel's Mayer's information, Microsoft counts with it, and I'm looking forward to when the dynamic SVGs are supported. Over there is a small library of links to SVG from basics SVG and online SVG generator to SVG. There is a team with custom icons like 2 weeks ago, how to generate custom icons with the help of Visual Studio to be consumed in Power BI. Several stuff of this I'm also showing today. So this is kind of link for you. Now let's go to the show what can be expected from dynamic SVGs. So again, sorry guys, I'm not front-end guy, so if it's kind of attacking your optical nerve, sorry for it. I'm showing the functionalities, not the beautiness and so on. So over there you have some icons, and you can control the icon size. For example, thickness of the line around the icon. I can add several other things. You just need to trust me that I can also control the transparency of the color, transparency of everything, layering, etc., etc. And over there, I can show you that if I'm moving with these R, red, green, blue lines, this SVG measure just dynamically adapt to my settings. And you can see that this dynamic adapt, or you can grasp now that this dynamic adaptation can be bind to your report KPIs. Okay, let's go to another show, really just quickly through it. I'm going to show you some older reports of mine. This one came from 2019, if I remember correctly. And here you can see some mythological production line of future Skoda that is producing not only the cars over there, but also some UFO-like vehicles. And on this assembly line, you will have a control if this vehicle, doesn't matter if it's UFO-arc or Kokodak, or how the cars are called in Skoda in the future, if it has the doors over there or not. Here are doors, here not. And if it has some, engine. So here we can see the wheel, and over there we can see for these UFO arcs, we can see over there the heel, and instead of door we have there this input ladder or whatever it is. And the image is dynamic, so depending if the imaginative car or vehicle, if it's produced and how it's produced. So you can control the color. So like 150 plus colors, you can scroll down and it dynamically reacts to selection. So if it has car, if it has doors, if it has engine, and it's showing there. The full stuff there, you can see it's just over there. Show vehicle icon. So somewhere there is some DAX that is dealing dynamically with image that it's based and built up responsive to your report. So that's one show there. Another one that is really going to attack your optical nerves is just for the show dummy data. So here you can see a metrics default visual, if I'm able to click on it. So default visual, metrics visual, that's just feeding you the cards. These cards, every card consists of 4 KPI. You can imagine like minimum value, maximum value, standard deviation, mean, whatever these numbers, they are completely artificial, whatever these numbers represents, but they are bound as one family. And they should be consumed as one family. So if you imagine that the columns, or if you assume that the columns are like some time, and the rows are some machines, so this can be then small multiples within the card showing the history, how some average or mean has been traveling over the time. And again, how it's done by card. And if you study it, you can realize that over there, this Skoda sign below, this Skoda arrow is still visible because I have the full control. So my color is set to be semi-transparent. So the card itself, it shows you what is behind. And simultaneously, okay, I have some multipliers, so it works as a heat map. It works as some threshold. So if some numbers are going over the threshold, okay, the red warning, whatever flashlights is showing there. And if you start to slice it, indeed it reacts. And you see everything there, and you can go down and scroll. And if I decrease the size, you can scroll in this way, and you have full control what is shown as the semitotals per columns, per rows, and you have the small notables. Okay, also not nice, but a function, you can highlight, pinpoint the focus of the consumers by the size. So if I change the threshold, so whatever pass some particular test, like this is important and rest is important, but not so much. So you can control it by size. So these are the beauties of dynamic SVGs. And the last one is over there. And this is really fluffy. So again, card and some reference number, some one KPI and another KPI. And then the request was, okay, but we would like to see the difference between this KPI and a reference here. So that's a difference like absolute nominal value. And we would like to consume the difference as a relative value, so as ratio. But we would like to order by it. So if you select as a user that you would like to, sequence by the size of the value, so absolute KPI, you can see that now I click default on the column and I have the smallest number there and biggest numbers over there. But if I click on a ratio, it's ordered by ratio, the whole card. So you can imagine that especially for consumption of financial stuff, like month-over-month values, are we increasing, are we decreasing, are we increasing in absolute values, or are we increasing in relative values? And still you have it, and the whole table is reordered sequence by your stuff. And as just a fluffy feather over it, you can set also the control over the fonts. Okay, so this is the beauty of dynamic SVGs. And
I think we're all just blown away at the moment. In the chat, everyone is just like, oh, wow, at what you can do. So I'm going to stop talking, but just to get feedback to you, because I know what it's like when you're presenting. There's a lot of love going on, Pavel. So over to you.
Thanks. Okay, so that's kind of introduction for custom icons, because I shown you that know what is dynamic SVG and how to use it in Power BI can be really, bonus for you. And now, how is it with custom icons? I would start with the default show how it works in custom icons, and for do so, I open some really dummy data over there, some stupid table with some numbers. And if you go over there into the cell elements, you can turn off the font color, not icons. You can turn on the icons, and then you can start to define by several ways, but here you can define as a rules. Oh, okay, if the value is A, then the icon is this one, if B is this, and if C is this, and you can go there and select some icons. But frankly speaking, this icon looks like Windows 3.11, really past the age. And yes, you can set there, for example, this icon. If you set it correctly, you have these ugly icons there. So that's the default stuff. And you have these icons. Everyone has these icons available in Power BI. Super cool. But how to get custom icons over there? Simpsons Family or VW AG Brands? Okay, so let's show how it is and why I needed to deal with it. Once upon a time, true story, there was a report and a particular highly positioned boss in Volkswagen who is very gifted in front end, really gifted in front end. And it's pain to work with him and simultaneously a blessing, because yes, when he finished with the report, this report is like a javel. You don't need to touch it, you just place it on a pedestal and you gaze on it and you are in AVE. However, to get there, it's like endless loop of iterations. No, this color is too shining. No, this is 1 pixel left. No, this is 2 pixels up, and so on. And he realized that there are these custom icons. And indeed, he wanted a custom icon that would be in acceptance with CI of the company and of the right size and right position, and etc. etc. And yes, I delivered him first set of the custom icons, and then he wanted the changes, so I delivered the second set and the third one, and then I stopped counting. And then I realized that if I would continue, that I would just spend doing with custom icons and nothing else. And then I stopped and start to use the thing that it's in between my ears, that how to speed it up. So now let's study what is the default way how you can deliver the custom icons. So as I mentioned over there, if someone defines the custom icons for you, like I shown here, even a simple-minded developer can use that. No problem. But the problem is this beginning over there. If someone defines it for you, if you need to define it by yourself, here is it in text, but you need to deliver the SVG somehow. That means that you need to have at least a grasp about the SVG. Then you need to inject for every icon one particular SVG file into the correct location in a correct structure with correct, like everything, brackets, case sensitive, hashtag matters, everything matters. It's a nightmare. Then, as soon as you smash it, you create a JSON from it. So you inject this SVG definition into the JSON file. And this JSON file is effectively a theme for your Power BI. And if you do everything correctly and you import this theme into your report, you can open the bottle of champagne because finally you got the custom icons there. However, if you screw up anything anywhere, just a single bit there, you got just a general note from Microsoft like we cannot load custom theme, and that's all. And you can, toss the dice or jump out of the window or whatever, because you need to go from the beginning and try to play for data SVG detective. What the hell was screw up where? So, how to automatize? You maybe noticed, maybe not, but as I worked with SVG for several years already, I realized maybe like 1.5 years ago, it started to be like hot topic in Power BI. People started to be like hype on SVG. There are tons of currently there are tons of SVG topics, videos of very good quality and very bad quality on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and so on. Check the list, the recommendation. There are definitely other developers who are doing a tremendous job with SVG, dynamic SVGs. So I encourage you to study it. But in general, everywhere till 2 weeks ago, it was always that you need to somehow manually prepare the SVG to inject it. 2 or 3 weeks ago, one guy, I don't remember the name now, sorry, it's in the library of links, show how to use a Visual Studio to help you deliver SVG to create JSON to import it into the Power BI. Well, it's super stuff. If I would be able to consume it like 2 years ago, I would maybe sacrifice my firstborn, but that was not presented there, so I needed to find it by myself by reverse engineering. So the bottlenecks of the process: you get the correct DAX code for SVG. Size matter, hashtag matters, everything matters. The second bottleneck is, what the hell if you have bigger SVG file? Because there are some limitations on the size of SVG. How to deal with it? There are some hardcore limits. If you started to do super simple logic, your SVG is limited to something like 30,000 characters because Power Query cannot store more than 30-something thousand ASCII characters per cell. And if your SVG definition is, occupying bigger space, sorry, the SVG is not completed. And instead of observing SVG, you observe some, you are a stupid developer, we can't show it to you. So that's a deal with the bigger SVG. And the third bottleneck is how to place it correctly into correct place into this JSON definition. So yes, you can use some 32,000 characters per query in ASCII. And then you can use some Visual Studio or hardcore programming, but you have Power BI. So now a little of the Power BI workflow. I'm gonna to show you. So what I did is that I started to understand that, okay, I'm using massively Inkscape. That's, by the way, free of charge version of Vector Graphics Designer. You can use Adobe. You can use whatever other tools. So I have a library of my icons. Also, I have a CI correct icons from the company. They are in SVG file. Why can't I proceed them in Power BI? That means I can slice them. I simultaneously check that if I'm seeing them, if I'm observing them in Power BI report, I process correctly all these shenanigans hidden in transferring this SVG code into DAX compatible, Power BI compatible SVG code. And because it's a library of CI corporate identity means. That means that the red color is really red because you work for Ferrari, so it's Ferrari red. And if it's Skoda green, that it's the proper tint of green color and so on. Then the second stuff is that the Power BI report works simultaneously also as a slicer. So if I would like to embed it and create for some other developer a theme with this subset of icons, I can just dynamically click in Power BI, and I filter my DAX definition of the SVG and prepare it to be exported into the JSON. And indeed, I can even prepare the text file as the JSON content of the file as a text, just ready to be copy-paste into the JSON file. Okay, so that was my idea, and after several test tries and so on, I ended with this workflow. So first, change, update, create whatever SVG with your tool, graphical tool, Adobe, Inkscape, free online SVG generator, whatever. So you have somewhere SVG file. Then proceed, load these SVG files by Power BI report and pre-process them so they are Power BI and DAX compatible. Filter them. So the user filter only the icons he's interested in and just copy the definition of it already in a JSON structure. So you just copy it and paste it, smash it into Notepad, and just name it into the JSON file so you have a theme. And indeed, the last stuff, consume it. I'm going to show you how it works, and then let's go back to this tiny minute details how it's done. So somewhere there I have select icons. So let's go there. So over there I have some small library of icons, flags, Simpsons, group icons, brand logos, and so on. So you can see the structure over there. If I select the Simpsons, indeed, I see the Bart Simpsons. I see the path to it, so I can find where it is, and I consume how it looks like. If I switch to flags, yes, there are the flags of all countries in the world, plus some flags I never seen and heard about it. And over there is some group icons library, like 3,000 or how many, I've reduced it a little, of corporate identity icons of VW AG. Don't ask me what these remain, what they represent. Let's use them. So let's assume that you would like to get some icons, and really there's tons of them. Come on, it's fast to go here. So we have some icons. Come on. And I would select this car and whatever the car and some question mark and this approval sign and this one and that one. By selection, I see that I selected the 6 icons, and over there, this gibberish is effectively a DAX function that takes the definition of each particular icon and smash it into the JSON text. So I can just copy it, copy the value, open a notepad, sorry. So over there is gonna be a notepad, I hope so, over there, and smash it there. And I have a definition of the theme for icons. So let's go. Let's save it as, okay, on desktop. So it's 2024-06-25, show JSON, whatever. I need to rename it because now it's JSON. It's not a JSON, it's a text file. So just go somewhere and just smash it there as a JSON. Somewhere there is the JSON file. Now let's go back to this empty stuff I was showing you. So let's go to the model, sorry, view, theme, browse for themes, and let's address this particular file directly. Custom field has been currently and successfully imported. If I now click on the icons, you can see that I have icons over there. Indeed, I can set these icons. So if A, then it's this card. If B is this stuff, C is this, whatever it is. And yes, you can go there and you can consume them. So if you imagine what I did, I was talking a lot about it, but in a few really like seconds, I'm able to prepare, filter, and generate the JSON ready to be consumed by Power BI dynamically. Okay, now how the magic is done.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Because I'm looking at all that and I'm like, well, I don't even know where to start asking you the questions. So
okay, so let's start with the Power
magic. Magic explained, please. That would be brilliant. It looks awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Let's start with the Power Query. There are several. This is the table of some dummy data, and here is the most important stuff: SVG images. So what's going on there? I goes to the folder as defined by my path. I filter to SVG files only because I don't care about PNG and whatever version, because I work with the graphical tool there with the Inkscape, so I can export as PNG, JPEGs, etc. So only SVG. And then I deal with the attributes, because remember, some SVGs are too big to be processed in a single Power Query cell, Power Query string. So I need the attributes, changing the type, because I'm working with the size. So somewhere there is the size in bytes. And if the icon is too big, I would have a problems. Like 180 or 90 kilobytes is too big for 42 characters, ASCII characters as a limit. So I clean up the columns. I'm still remaining some stuff there. And please, it's not nice. It's not well documented and commented. It was a tool for me. I'm using it. And in our company, my colleagues can also use it because I share it. So they consume it as a tool to generate the developers, the other developers, like tier 2 developers, are able, using my tool, to generate their own themes. And then clean up of name. And now here it is. This function proceeds this binary into table. The sum table has only one row because it's small. The SVG is small. But if the SVG was very big, bigger than, okay, let's sequence descending. Yes, let's smash it there. If it's bigger, you can see that the table has several rows. Each row is this 30 kilo chunk of the former SVG code. I would comment this function in details within a few tenths of seconds, but now let's go in this helicopter point of view, what's going on there. So effectively, this function somehow processes this SVG code that is completely Inkscape Adobe compatible into Power Query text string. I sorted the rows, okay. Some other sorting, yeah, because of whatever remains, it's not important. Or it is important because I need to add index, because the whole story is, okay, if Power Query string contains only 30 kilobytes or 32 kilobytes of characters, then I need to concatenate them by DAX. Funny stuff is that concatenate X function in DAX has already also the limit, maximum string length. But the limit in DAX is something over 2.1 million ASCII characters. So by doing so, by splitting the SVG, big SVG, into the smaller chunks, I'm able to store the information by Power Query, ready to be consumed later by DAX. And the DAX takes these small chunks and glue them again together. And indeed, I need to glue them in proper sequence. Otherwise, I would get some gibberish and definitely not working SVG. So that's adding the index over there. And finally, some clean stuff and expand SVG code. And here you can see that this, and again, because I prefer instead of, this is effectively a fact table. This fact table is going to be sliced by some dimensional SVG table with the name and icon size and from where the icon came, etc. And I don't know what other attributes there. So I glue it by the SVG image ID. So effectively, every SVG image has been tagged by a number, and especially this SVG is of two parts, and if you glue this manually with this one, you would get the former SVG. How works this function? Okay, let's go there. Let's zoom. Let's zoom there. So effectively, the input of this function is binary. I'm lazy to do more fancier stuff. It works. It's not super optimized. I defined the delimiter because these chunks of SVG code, okay, at least for me as a human being, it's easier to read if there are some delimiters. They don't need to be in SVG, but better to have them, and I place that delimiter white space. I transform the binary into the lines of text. Then I combine these lines using this delimiter together, and then reverse engineering. I realized that everywhere there where color is defined by hashtag, so hashtag FFFFFF, that means some gray or whatever it is, blue, white color in RGB, the hashtag is non-digestible for DAX. It needs to be replaced by %23 color, 23 substring. Because of CSS, I don't want to go down to this rabbit hole. Moreover, I'm not expert there. Sorry, it's just a nasty engineer approach to work. Another problem is that every SVG, if I switch just somewhere there into some SVG over there, like this text stuff, if you study it as text code, you would realize that there is a lot of inch characters. But how what is represented by inch characters in DAX as start of the string. So if you have an inch character in your SVG and you try to load it into your DAX, you effectively end up with parts of the SVG code identified as a text, and then followed by some gibberish that can't be DAX function. So you would be, you would end up with error. So you need to replace every inch character by apostrophe. I hope so that I name it correctly. Sorry, English is not my mother language. So I hope so. It's an apostrophe. Definitely it's this particular sign over there, this single top stuff. And then I split the whole text into this small 32 kilobytes or 25 better safe than sorry chunks, and add the ID and create out of it a table with some table from columns function. So effectively jumps just some Power Query operations. If you don't understand it, study it in the code or open Power Query book written by Brian Julius and others, or just have a look on you are from England, so you have Ben Gribaudo, you have experts on Power Query. So that's the function that is preceding the SVGs. The rest of it, dim SVG images, okay, again, it takes the folder structure, it reads the folder structure, clean up some columns. I don't need to deal with binaries at all. I added some stuff like where it is located and capitalize stuff, adding primary index to be able to bind it in Power BI data model in a relationship, and some cleanup. And at the end, I have this table as a dimension table, and I can use it and slice by it. I'm not using everything in my report, not every column, so it should be clean up, but I don't care. And that's all. So that was the Power Query stuff, but I've mentioned some DAX stuff. So how the DAX stuff is doing, what is good, what is there?
That is the understatement, Pavel, and that's all.
So first, you can see there is an SVG, and SVG is a measure, and if I'm able to find it, because I have it a little in a mess. So SVG images. So there is an SVG and because sorry, not cleanup, but this is the big SVG code, and the big SVG code is doing exactly adding some suffix that defines that it is SVG, and then concatenate the stuff from the Power Query. So the code over there takes the table SVG images that is filtered by my dimension table. It takes these chunks, these SVG parts, glue them together, and glue them how? Ascending by this ID of these subchunks. So it's correctly ordered. And that's the measure. Indeed, the measure needs to be properly formatted. It needs to be a text format, and data category needs to be set to image URL. Then I am able to see these images, these SVG images as icons, effectively still as images in my report. And here is the thing that generates the JSON there. And this thing is effectively building this JSON theme. So I get the current datetime stamp. I take some prefix, because that is, don't ask me why, that's request for JSON. So I define a JSON by these complex parentheses, curly brackets, and so on, a name, etc. These multiple inch characters, quotation characters, or whatever it is, these are required because in DAX you need to define the inch character, but if you define a single inch character, that would be the end of the string. So you need to get several of them together to define that this one is effectively inch character. So it's kind of escape character. And then there is DAX stuff that it's doing the logic, gluing together each individual SVG definition, and finally close it. But here is the warning: if the length is too long, if there is too many icons, just warn that the JSON is going to be too big. That means the DAX can effectively cut off the definition. So please, dear developer, dear stupid me, limit these icons to just a little subset of the icons, not 100 of them, maybe 50 of them. So the total definition of the JSON is within this limitation of 1.2 or 2.1 million characters. I'm going to show you how to deal with these limitations, because I can define and deliver you JSONs which are much bigger. They have much bigger amount of SVG or just more detailed SVGs, but later. And that's all, because this measure is there as a simple, stupid table. And indeed, I'm going to the table and just copy the text definition of one value into the table, and that's what I just smash into the JSON file. So you can have brand logos. You can have their dynamic face. How is it possible? Because if I open over there, I have a test file of Inkscape. So over there is Inkscape with some stuff. Let's see that. Let's go on the select icon somewhere in the tests. You can see the icon. Yeah, the old one. I need to refresh it. By the way, the refresh, if you have like really tons of SVGs, it takes some time because it needs to proceed. But here, this 700 icons, you can see just a fraction, few seconds. I don't care. And you can see this test SVG over there. So now I would take, Sue, can I use your face for the test here?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I would take a screenshot of your face and just smash it there, but it's too big, sorry. So I need to... Pardon?
Oh, someone else. Hang on, I'll mute them.
Okay, so I would better if I would compress it. Otherwise, I would hit this, possibly hit the size of the limit of the SVG file. But here's one of the beauty. You can embed it, bitmap, into SVG, because SVG is effectively an object. Typically, it consists the definition of these vectors, but you can wrap into it PNG, JPEG, whatever. So you don't need to go to base 64 transformations to transform your file into some. You can just smash it on SVG. And if I save it and now refresh it, and if the image is not too big, sorry, Sue, that's nothing about your physiognomy. Now it's too big. It has been, because I have that selection. But now you can see that over there is an image SVG of smiling Sue. And if I set it and just copy the value, and let's go again to this SVG and just replace it with this definition. So you can see there is the base 64. This gibberish is base 64 transformation of the image that is done automatically on your computer. You don't need to go to base 64 online transformer and so on. And if I now open this dummy stuff and browse through themes and again found the JSON stuff there, indeed, now the icons, they no longer exist, what I said there, but I can set the new icons there, and there is the Sue, and you have it there. So,
whoa.
So you can add there the brand logos, you can add there effectively everything. Some remarks and hints. beware of overcomplex and Matryoshka-like SVGs. Some SVGs, and I found it especially Adobe created SVGs, are so super complex that it's object in object in object in object. That's why I call it Matryoshka doll-like. And these are too complex to be processed and understood by team in Power BI. What you can do there? There are simplifiers. There are several services over the globe, free of charge. You push there your SVG file, and the SVG file is compressed, beautified, and cleaned, and typically much simplified, like reduced to 10-20%. And then this simplified SVG is then processable and injectable into the JSON definition of the Power BI. 2.1 million characters, ASCII characters per limit, per team limit. So yes, I showed you over there. Here, this can be like long. Like now it's too big. You can see it's too big. But what I can do is to select just few of these guys, copy them. Yes, but okay, new stuff, new text file. Smash it there. And then select some other. Come on, this one and this one. Copy them. And now, sorry, it's a time for human interaction. And if you know what is the JSON, so here's this curly bracket defines JSON, is the definition of attribute, that's the name, and what is the value of the attribute. And here's the icon, and it's again a curly bracket. And this curly bracket in JSON Crash Course effectively defines the object. That can be a list, a value, or another object. And you can see over there is a list of icons, and over there is a list of icons. So what I need to do is go here, go there, copy these two lines, including the naming, go here, add the comma, and smash there the definition. By doing so, I effectively glued two JSON themes together to get one bigger that is going over this and going beyond this DAX concatenate X function limit of 2-point-something million characters. So that's a way how you can deal with the team limit and DAX limitation of the team limit. Nevertheless, it is possible to go over that, but I highly discourage you to create very big team files. I don't know what is the limit. And openly, I was not looking for. If someone smashed like hundreds of icons into your report, who is gonna to use them and how? You know. So keep KISS principle, keep it stupid simple, small one, and use only that's required. With this tool, you have full functionality. You can adapt. Careful with those icons, there's a limit. Some big teams are rejected by Power BI and you cannot proceed them. Another stuff that it's nasty surprise for you is if you work with dark teams. Because Power BI, if you have a dark theme of your report, so your icon is going to be drawn by white ink. However, this interface of Power BI is white paper. So you would have a white ink drawn over the white paper. So the icon is there, but you can't distinguish. You need to hover the mouse over the icon in the selection of this, the formatting stuff, and then you see that's okay. That's dark Audi. Yes, these are these 4 circles nearby. That's Audi brand icon. So careful there, and effectively, yes, I warned you several times. I prepared it. It works. I did so by a brute force engineering approach, and as it works, I'm not touching it. Definitely can be improved. Remarks and hits. Power Query and DAX code I just shown is not optimized, not super optimized. It's not formatted. It's nicely. It works. You can take the report, as I did so, smash it into the web service, and effectively then you have a tool for other developers that they don't need to understand your logic. They are just using it. You can embed bitmaps, and I shown you on an example of use beautiful face in the icon, and you can place whatever other bitmap, just careful of the size. So if you place there the photo, resize it as an icon. And yes, you don't then you don't need to use the base 64 core formatters because it's included in a SVG, but also you can define your JSON file not only as a SVG definition, but also as a base 64 style. And you can get user control dynamics icons. And I hope so that I found a proper report with the show DAX group icons, DAX control. Yes, because that's the last show and the time is approaching. Yes. So sorry, Power BI is just loading. So we need to wait for a while because using the theme, even that you have the icons in theme, if you know how, you can control dynamically what icon is going to be shown. Okay, so here's the report, some dummy icons. And if I switch from dark to light mode, you can see that the icons change over there.
Yeah.
So if I study it, and where the hell it is, I really hate this new experience. Yes, over there. Cell elements, icons. So you can see that over there, you can see there is some icon. There is also some icon. There is also some icon. What the hell is there? If you hover the mouse over it, you can see that's Bentley white. Here it's the Audi dark and dark Cupra because it's white on white.
Yeah.
But still you can use it. And the story here, should I show you or just let it as a conundrum for others for the next show? You can vote how it's done. So what's your opinion, Sue?
I've got a couple. What do people want? I'd quite like to see it because I'm going to have to go back and show Christian's saying me too because I'm going to go back and watch this.
Okay.
This is just
so over there the icon, dynamic icon. If you have a look on it, the stuff that it's not so well known about is that if you have something defined in a JSON, you can call it by its name. So remember, there is somewhere a JSON where dark Audi is part of the icons, one icons in the JSON with its definition, and there is a light Audi. That is the Audi for white background or dark background or whatever. So effectively, because that's definition, you can call, okay, if value is A, show me dark Audi if the theme is the dark. And if the theme is white or light, show me the light Audi. And also you can add there the full-blooded HTML URL address with some, it needs to be accessible from your environment with some address to the icon or to the image. And this image is, if I remember correctly, it's my LinkedIn profile image. Yes.
I see. Yeah. So you can swap between the different images.
Yes. So now key takeaways. We have 4 minutes. I've shown you custom icons. I've shown you that the custom icons can be and are defined in JSON theme file. I show you some crash course, very quick crash course into the SVG and SS and how SVG, how you can benefit from SVG. I show you how to streamline the custom icon creation process. And really, you can stream it down to a few tenths of seconds. Typically, 11 seconds is enough for me. I show you how to check, slice, copy out the Power BI theme JSON effectively as a text definition, and how to consume it in Power BI report. And some tricks in DAX and how you can address your custom icons by DAX code just by its name. And this duplicate of key takeaways is just thank you for your attention. And now I can answer in this last 3 minutes. So sorry.
Yeah. How long, my question first, how long did it take you to learn all of this and to test and to realize, okay, so Power Query only has 32,000, whereas DAX has so many million. And so how long did it take you to build this?
Okay, I would answer in 2 options because, as Alberto Ferri is stating, it depends. If you are talking about how long it takes me to understand that there are some limitations in DAX and Power Query and what are these limitations and how it works in Power Query, I work with Power Query and DAX since 2017. Now it's 2024, so that's one option to answer. But the second answer, how long does it take me to develop this tool for me? It was 2 evenings.
2 evenings?
Yeah, because these are the building blocks. I created but hundreds of custom features in DAX, custom features in Power Query, and you just build this block together. And the most time I spent with trying to decipher why the hell it doesn't show what is expected and where is the problem, to reverse engineer this hashtag, and that needs to be replaced by this person 23, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Probably
how long did that take?
That takes, that's within these 2 evenings.
I'd like your brain.
No, that's experience, sorry.
That was absolutely awesome. I do have a couple of questions. That was brilliant. That's it just really makes you think about the art of the possible and what you can do, and how if you apply yourself and use that scientific methodology to simplify and build everything together. So one of the questions was big SVGs, what impact did it have? And I know you touched on that, how a big SVG affects the performance of the report. And I think you sort of more or less covered that by saying...
Okay, so I kind of skip this and I should note it. Please keep in mind that the SVG needs to be, call it materialized, calculated, whatever. If the big SVG is materialized, calculated, like 2 million characters, you are throttling the DAX. So especially if you have like tons of images in a table and small images, it can be slow. But again, it depends, if someone embedded 12 megapixel photo into the SVG, sorry, it's a stupidity because that can't be used for icons for Power BI. That's, why. The icon is typically like, I don't know, 40 by 60 pixel. If I use the cards with multiple KPIs inside, it's like 200, maybe 300 pixels in width, but definitely not like 12 megapixels. So yes, it can and it will negatively decrease the speed of evaluation because the DAX needs to be evaluated. But again, it depends. You can see that as I was scrolling over these thousands, I think so, there's like 3,500 icons on this corporate identity package. So yes, the scrolling was a little slower because then it needs to be evaluated. But for me, It's okay.
Wasn't it? Yeah, it was okay. Christian asked, have you used SVGs for corporate office user photos?
I don't understand the question.
So have you used, you know, like you took the picture of me, I think he's asking, have you used SVGs within your organization for people's pictures? But again,
I effectively, sorry, that was, by the way, why I was asking Sue, because in our corporate, everything is sensitive, and especially human photo is sensitive. Sometimes it's very sensitive in the business email. So I don't dare to took anyone's picture except of me or someone who agrees, and I have it on a recording. So sorry, for me, it's a no-go zone, Christian. Technically, it's possible, but don't steer the pot you don't want to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. Fernando said that he had a big project with a tier 1 automotive, and they couldn't even use employee names. So I think the discussion was about that. Takimi says you're genius and very creative and very logical. And are you going to share which report are you going to share with us so that we can, because I know for one, I wouldn't expect you to give me everything because there's so much work behind it, but it would be good to have the template that you developed just to understand as a learning tool.
This main with the presentation where you have the logic and you can use it. I'm going to share it as a template, so you need to write it on your stuff. So it's clean of my personal information or business information, but everything is inside.
The methodology is there. Yeah. That's perfect. Brilliant.
If I can assume, because in corporate I can't use a Git, etc. So I would share it with you, and I would ask you if you can be so kind and post it somewhere where it's accessible for others.
I'll put it in the Devon and Cornwall GitHub site. I'll put a link to that in the chat. No, that's absolutely brilliant. I wouldn't expect the data, but to be able to work through and understand the concept and to start small. Fernando's asked, how does the new card visual help? Does it substitute or challenge this methodology?
Effectively, so far, these new cards and new slices are not accepting dynamically defined SVGs. You can import the bitmaps, PNG files, etc., but SVG is not accepted. Not yet. Miguel Mayers mentioned that should be changed, but God knows only when. I don't know. The cards, I have the big trouble with cards, effectively, that they are slower than my KPI cards.
Okay.
And I don't have, so at least not yet, so rich options to control them. Like just that's it, just to change the font on the card, or just highlight a particular number there. Or if I would show you again this card with like absolute difference and difference in relatives, you maybe notice, maybe not, but if I order it by by this relative difference, the relative difference KPI is increased in font to others. So automatically it pinpoint the focus of the consumer to the key part and key information, and that so far is not possible to deliver even with new cards.
Okay.
But on the other side, yes, you need to have some knowledge of SVG if you like to do this cards and add there some like spark lines and so on. You need to do it by yourself, and that means some kind of coding. It's not rocket science, but it's some kind of coding.
Yeah, I think I like you put Laura's Laura GB hat full of data. I followed her tutorials, and I found that really useful in understanding SVG and how to put them together. It is it does require a bit of, like you say, some coding to understand how to use it. But once you do, then it's incredibly useful. Fernandez said, "Ahoy there! Thanks, Pavel." Yeah, everyone's just saying thank you. That I think well, if anyone doesn't need to rewatch it, I would be super impressed. But I really appreciate the time that you've taken to share that knowledge with us, because as you said, you know, it may have taken you 2 evenings to put it together, but it's the time that you've spent and the years in understanding how to build it and how to make it simple. So we'll have to sit in a dark room and go through it step by step. But I mean, it just opens up so many opportunities. We're at 5 past. Any questions for or almost 10 past? Any questions? Yeah. See the first part. Yeah, Andrew. Me too, Andrew. I need to rewatch it, and I was here the whole way, so you won't be on your own. Nigel says thank you. Oh, Christian says he reckons you'll need to rewatch it to optimize the code.
Definitely, the code is ugly but working. No, I needed to deal with the pain for me. I deal with it, and I continue with some other custom functionalities.
Yeah, you do, don't you? Sometimes it's just like I just need to get it working, and then, but I like you. This is my engineer. This will make it work, and it will work efficiently and effectively. And it could be more beautiful, possibly, but I'm going to make it, smash it, and make it work. And I think you've more than done that. Oh, thank you, Darren. I will enjoy the yoga tonight. I need it today. It's been a busy, busy day. Thank you so much, Pavel. That was absolutely brilliant. And I have absolutely no doubt at all we will be inviting you back for more questions. As people start to play with it, then we'll be inviting you back. But have a lovely, lovely evening, everyone. And thank you so much, Pavel. And if you email me the report, I will put it into the GitHub site, and I'll put a message in the chat for everyone to say it's there. So I'm going to be thinking about this for a little while. So thank you all. Take care. Have a lovely, lovely evening. I'll stop recording now.
Good evening.
Brilliant. Thank you. That was